You say yes before you even hear the whole request. Yes to covering the shift. Yes to hosting again. Yes to staying calm while someone unloads their whole life onto you at 11 p.m., then sleeps peacefully while you lie awake carrying what they left behind. For years, this looked like generosity. People called you reliable, easygoing, the glue. But somewhere inside that pattern, something else was happening. You were not only helping people, you were slowly becoming harder to find. Start with the social alarm. Psychologist Mark Leary developed sociometer theory. In plain English, it means your self-esteem works partly like a social gauge. It watches for signs that you are valued, included, accepted, or at risk of being pushed out. You can see it in a room. Someone's tone changes. A message gets colder. A friend stops inviting you. Before you have a full explanation, your body already knows something has shifted. Shame arrives. Anxiety arrives. The mind starts asking what you did wrong. For the person who always says yes, agreement becomes one fast way to quiet that alarm. You are asked for a favor, and the gauge jumps. If you say yes, you stay useful. If you stay useful, you stay included. If you stay included, the alarm stops ringing. Is that kindness? Sometimes, yes, but the dangerous version looks almost identical from the outside. The difference appears when you imagine refusing. If the thought of saying no feels less like a choice and more like a threat, generosity has started carrying another job. Now move into the rule underneath. Psychologist Jennifer Crocker's work on contingent self-worth describes a simple but painful pattern. Your sense of value rises and falls depending on whether some condition is met. For one person, the condition is achievement. For another, it is being attractive. For another, it is being morally good. For the person who always says yes, the condition may become being needed. Imagine a child who is praised mostly when they are helpful. They get noticed when they are quiet. They are called mature when they do not ask for much. They are loved, maybe sincerely loved, but the clearest signals of approval arrive when they make life easier for everyone else. The lesson does not need to be spoken. The child learns a private equation. If I am easy, I am safe. If I am useful, I matter. If I have too many needs, the room changes. This does not mean your whole life began there. It does not mean every family did this on purpose. It means one possible pathway is repetition. What gets rewarded often gets rehearsed. What gets rehearsed often becomes identity. Follow that identity into adult life. A friend texts asking you to watch her kids Saturday, the same weekend you had blocked off to finally rest. You feel the hesitation for half a second. Then you type, "Of course, no problem," before your body has even agreed. Later, you are folding laundry alone. Nothing dramatic has happened. No one yelled. No one forced you. But something tightens in your chest that you cannot quite name. That tightness is not only guilt about the favor, it is grief. You are grieving a version of the weekend that belonged only to you, one you gave away so quickly that even you almost missed the loss. This is how a person disappears without a single villain in the room. The cost accumulates where most people never look. Sociologist Arlie Hochschild wrote about emotion work and emotional labor. The simple version is this. Emotional labor is the effort of managing feelings so a situation remains socially acceptable, comfortable, or smooth. You do it when you soften your voice even though you are furious. You do it when you smile through a gathering you did not want to attend. You do it when a friend asks, "Are you okay?" and you say yes because explaining the truth would create more work than hiding it. In families, it can look like noticing who is tense before anyone else does. At work, it can look like absorbing the mood of the team so the meeting does not collapse. In friendships, it can look like being the person everyone calls during a crisis, while nobody thinks to ask whether you have anything left. This labor rarely appears on anyone's list of what you did today, but it may be the heaviest thing you carried. Here is the part that reframes everything. The story tells you this person is selfless, endlessly giving, always thinking of everyone but themselves. But look more carefully. Sometimes saying yes is not only an act toward the other person. It is also a way of managing the fear that if you become less available, you become less wanted. The person who always says yes is not ignoring their own needs because they have none. They may have one very loud need running the whole operation. Do not become someone others can leave behind. Does that make the kindness fake? Not fake. Involuntary. There is a difference. Kindness is chosen. Involuntary kindness is performed under pressure from an inner rule you may not even remember agreeing to. Now watch how modern life sharpens the pattern. A phone that never fully goes quiet can turn an old reflex into a full-time position. In some circles, a message left unanswered for 6 hours can start to feel like a small offense. Group chats create the sense that everyone can see how quickly you respond, how available you make yourself, how easily you can be reached. The social gauge that once checked in occasionally now runs continuously, lit by a screen you carry everywhere. Someone needs a reply, someone needs reassurance, someone needs help deciding what to say. Someone needs you to be fine with a plan you never wanted. Saying yes has never been easier to request or harder to refuse. So what does the disappearance look like once it is finished? Not a single dramatic collapse, something quieter. A person who cannot answer a simple question about what they want for dinner because the muscle that used to know has gone unused for years. A person whose calendar is full of everyone else's dates and empty of their own. A person who says, "Whatever you want," so often that people stop believing there is another answer hidden underneath. Eventually, the room adapts to your absence. People stop asking what you think because they have learned your answer will bend toward whatever keeps the peace. They stop checking your limits because your limits have rarely interrupted them. They stop noticing your sacrifice because sacrifice has become your normal tone. And the cruelest part is that you may call this being loved. But being needed is not the same as being known. Now the practical question begins. The answer is not to stop caring about people. That would be too simple, and for many people, impossible. The real question is how to recover choice inside care. Psychologist Kristin Neff's work on self-compassion gives one useful starting point. Self-compassion means relating to your own pain with steadiness instead of contempt. Not self-pity, not selfishness. Steadiness. Picture a friend telling you they gave away their only free weekend because saying no made them feel like a bad person. You would probably see the problem quickly. You would not tell them to push through until they became empty. You would tell them their limit mattered. Self-compassion is the moment you apply that same standard inward, not as a grand transformation, as a small interruption. Let me check and get back to you. That sentence looks ordinary. For someone trained to say yes instantly, it is not ordinary. It creates a pause between request and reflex. In that pause, the old role loses 1 second of control, then another, then another. The first no will not feel like relief. It may feel like risk. Sometimes the other person barely registers it. Sometimes they notice. Sometimes they are disappointed. But disappointment is not proof that you did something wrong. It is proof that a relationship has finally encountered a real edge, and that edge is where you begin to reappear. You said yes before you even heard the whole request. Somewhere underneath that reflex is a person who has not been asked what they want in a long time. The work now is not becoming less kind. It is becoming visible again, to the one person who stopped looking,